that there's someone in this movie whose character name was Icey Spoon?
I do, because that's a character that I hate. It is my most hated character of this movie. That's the, does she own an ice cream shop? And her name's Icey Spoon?
Oh my God. I thought it was a candy shop, but that's...
Oh, okay.
It's Icey and Walt Spoon.
Yeah, because they say Mr. and Mrs. Spoon a bunch, but I think they do say Icey.
Icey Spoon?
Once. Although, like, his...
As in she scoops ice cream for a living? That's... Wow.
I hope it's an ice cream shop.
I hope that was a job assigned at birth.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you're not. No, you know what? No, you're not going to be a teacher.
That's a good name for an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
The Icey Spoon.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Icey Spoon.
Sorry, your corner store has to sell ice cream by law.
Do you know anyone with one of those names? There's a special word for that when you have a name that's uniquely appropriate for your job.
That's actually your job? I don't think I do.
I work at a library, and one of the people in charge of like the acquisitions of new books, her name is Ilona Story, because she loans out stories.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah. I wonder if she was like, you know what? I have to be a librarian because that's my name.
It has to. Like that's assigned at birth.
Just like Icey Spoon.
Icey Spoon.
Unfortunately, we are not Mr. and Mrs. Podcast, though. That doesn't work for us. But welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of I Love This. You should, too. My name is Indy Lefty Randhawa, and with me is my right-hand woman. It's Samantha Randhawa, everybody.
It's me. Hi.
Here she is.
Oh, there's also someone whose name is Ben Harper.
Yes, that's the dad that gets hanged.
It's almost like I didn't prepare for this episode.
Do you prepare for episodes?
No, because then I sound like a robot.
Well, here we are at the last episode of season whatever it is, because this is episode 349?
Wow.
249. Have we done 300?
No, 349.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're in the threes.
We've done 349 episodes of this.
Yeah, it's impressive.
That's a lot.
And I owe it all to you. And I owe it all to you.
Oh, I was going to say...
I'm holding you above my head.
The same, but I'm not going to now because I'm not going to sing it.
But I'm holding Indy above my head currently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somehow we still get good audio from that, though.
Good setup.
So it's our last episode of this season, and we kind of did a three-parter. And it was my turn to pick, and I did one of my favorite movies of all time, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And we did a little bit of a sequence, because then we went into some film noir last week. And now we are talking all about the 1955 movie, The Night of the Hunter. And I'm guessing, Samantha, that you can see why I put this movie after expressionism and noir.
Yes.
There's a lot of that in here.
There's a lot of transfer over, for sure. And I'm excited to get into it.
All right. So I hadn't seen this movie in, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I saw it when I was like 15 the first time because my cousin, he was like an older cousin who was like 10 years older, so I think he's all cool. I was probably younger. Maybe I was like 11, 12 in there. And he said, oh, there's this really cool movie called The Night of the Hunter. And being the type of 12-year-old I am, I found it and watched it and really liked it then. Saw it again in my 20s, thought it was great, but I had mostly forgotten about it. So upon this rewatch, it's fantastic. I love this movie. So I loved it. Samantha, did you?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
I liked it. I think it's really important. I think it's like I can see exactly how it fits with the other movie, and I appreciate that. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the acting. I don't know that I liked it as much as Caligari.
Oh, well, yeah. How could you like anything as much as The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari? It's one of the best things ever made.
So don't think that I'm like giving this a bad rating. I think that it is a very good film, and I think that I can see how these two films fit together.
Yeah. 8 out of 10. That's great.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Absolutely. What about you? You saw it after many, many years.
Yeah. Remember like 30 seconds ago?
Okay, yeah.
Still love it, though.
Okay, great.
One thing that I might push back on, that this movie is, in fact, not important.
No?
No. Well, it's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was not influential at all. It's kind of the opposite. So let's go over the movie. And of course, there's some themes that I'm going to want to touch on. But do you want a little bit of background on this movie first? A little historical context, maybe?
Sounds good.
Because I usually don't like talking about that too much because I want to talk about the movie. And I didn't research much into this movie, but I kind of wish I had more. So first off, though, this movie was not well received. It was not typical of its time. Maybe that's why it didn't do so well. When we are looking at it now, it's kind of like timeless. We can say like, oh, I see the noir elements. Oh, I see the German expressionism. And then we have a kind of a scary story that seems like it would work in a movie today. Mm-hmm. At the time, this movie was seen as weird and discombobulated, and it didn't play well because a lot of those techniques that I look at and say like, wow, that's beautiful. They're really paying homage to the expressionists or the film noir or whatever it is. And I think there's some real attention to detail in the set and the framing and everything like that. But in 1955, movies were trying to compete with TV. TV's just coming out. It's black and white and it's at home. And so movies, of course, are in color and they are big and they're bombastic. It's westerns are really big. Musicals are really big. We want bright colors and we want it to be close to reality because we've seen things that look fake before. Now we're at the point where movies can look more realistic. So when someone goes and makes this kind of theatrical movie that does not look realistic, I think it looks beautiful, but I would not say it's realistic in any way. It seems quite artificial or dreamlike or however you want to talk about it. People didn't like it. They thought it looked old-fashioned. Why would you be bringing back these techniques? We're just getting past them. This looks like an old silent movie. We don't want that anymore. This is a new generation. People also thought it was really pretentious and overall just bad. It was not well received. The director never made another movie. He took it pretty hard how much people hated this.
Oh, wow.
So it was based on a 1953 novel. And it was kind of based on a real guy who was one of those, I think this happened quite a few times, where someone was like, hey, I'm wealthy. All you eligible ladies out there, come marry me. And then he would kill them and take the insurance money.
Oh.
So that was like the starting point. And then the novel changes it into a preacher type character. And then when they're making the movie of it, a screenwriter comes in and writes a really, really, really long screenplay. Incredibly long, but then that guy I think was in very ill health, so wasn't exactly able or perhaps willing to make edits on it. So Laughton, the director, comes and says like, okay, I'll rewrite it all, and doesn't take credit for it though. He seems like a real good guy.
Huh. That's nice that he came in and rewrote stuff.
And he also then asked the writer of the novel, because the novelist was an illustrator as well. He was a good artist. So he said like, yeah, what do you think this scene would look like? Draw it up and then I'll make it into the movie. So he was really willing to get a lot of people to put their input into this movie. From the cinematographers to the set deck people, he said, you guys are great at what you do. Go for it. Go do your thing. And that is a very undervalued thing in directors. We were talking about, I think, a few different movies, how when people have unlimited resources and everyone will do exactly what they say, those movies tend to be bad. Movies by committee like this, oftentimes, because you let experts show their expertise. You're not overruling someone who probably knows better about that certain thing than you do. So Charles Laughton, the director, is someone I wish I knew more about. He was a very well-known actor. He won an Oscar for Best Actor, but he wasn't a heartthrob. He said himself, like, he was pretty self-conscious about his looks, and he was always saying, like, well, I'm too fat to play this, I'm too ugly to play this, and he was very well regarded, though, and was classically trained, did a lot of Shakespeare, and Shelley Winters, who is the mom, what's her name? Willa? Let's say Willa. that was one of his students. So he's like, yeah, you're great. I'm going to put you in my movie.
Ah.
And he also loved Lillian Gish, who plays the... Rachel, yeah, the kind of fairy godmother type who comes in the second half of the movie. He was a big fan of her because she was a big silent movie star.
Right.
And he was recapturing a lot of silent movie era stuff in this movie. I think she had not really been acting much, but he convinced her to come in by selling like this role, like look at this role you can have. And Charles Laughton, like I said, directed this, nothing else ever, which is really a shame, because if this is your first movie, and I think it's just a masterpiece, I would have loved to have seen where he'd go after that. He was also one of the few, maybe not one of the few, he was gay, and I don't know how open it was. He was also married to the woman who played the bride of Frankenstein, and now we look at it as, oh yeah, it was a marriage of convenience. They weren't like romantic because he was covering up the fact that he was homosexual. And I'm not sure how open of a secret it was at the time, because you know what, I wasn't around there and I haven't done my research. But he also gets Robert Mitchum. Do you know Robert Mitchum?
Not really. I was wondering if he was like a big deal.
He was.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Robert Mitchum was a name. If you say, oh, this is a Robert Mitchum movie, it's a big thing. And he is an interesting guy too, because he's like kind of a jerk, but also pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So he was famous for doing movies high.
Oh.
Robert Mitchum loved weed. Which in 1950s, yeah,
that's pretty scandalous.
It was, and he went to jail.
Oh.
So he is maybe like a snob is a good way to put it. And he is very confident in his own abilities. So if he was in a movie and he didn't think the movie was very good, yeah, he would just show up high and would just be a jerk all day long and just like, yeah, I'll hit my marks, whatever, I don't care. And he would not care. And it was clear that he just didn't care about what he was doing. But when he did care, like this, he thought this was something special, and I agree. He tried a lot harder. Apparently, he was very good working with the kids and everything. And Laughton also was just very receptive to everyone putting in their own input. It was his first time, and he was just letting everyone be their best selves, which it seems like a real rarity, especially in the 50s, but just in movies in general, right? Directors have like an iron fist, and they're like, you do what I say, and this guy wasn't like that.
That's nice.
So Robert Mitchum, the only bad thing, well, I guess he did do some bad things. There's a story that, again, it's a long time ago, so we're not exactly sure, but he did get into issues with the producers. He worked well with everyone there, but he did not like the producers. There was one producer in particular. The story that I heard was he peed in that guy's radiator of his car.
That sounds so gross.
Some people say that he peed on the seat of the car, but he peed somewhere in the guy's car.
Wow, that's gross and mean.
Yeah, I guess it is. But like I said, this movie was not successful. It's almost easier for us, being so far removed from the time, to say that, look at this movie, it's amazing, it's timeless. But when you are of a time, something timeless doesn't always seem as special.
Right.
It seems like this is old-fashioned. What are these people doing? This is not like anything I watch now.
I guess it is easy to like lump everything in the same. Like, oh, it's just like an old movie. Yeah, it's not as special.
Yeah, I don't know what the equivalent of that would be now. Like, if someone made a movie that was very 90s, would we be like, oh, look at this old thing? I would kind of think that's cool. I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be like now. I mean, I can't really think of a movie that would fit into that.
No, because when I see things that remind me of an older time in cinema, I usually think that's a good thing. But I'm also someone who loves Night of the Hunter, so I guess I'm not the everyday person.
Correct.
Well, let's go through the movie. Like I said in the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari episode, I love calling things dichotomy within. So one of the running themes is going to be dichotomy within Night of the Hunter. The duality, this idea of like the fairy tale world versus harsh reality, appearances versus reality, innocence versus violence, children being forced into an adult world, all these opposing forces that are at odds with each other, kind of working themselves out, how it shifts between a child's point of view to that of a murderer. There's a lot of opposites being slammed into each other in this movie. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of the expressionist visuals and the performances and stuff.
Okay.
So that whole duality of life, I think, is set up very early. Because right at the beginning, we get Lillian Gish, who we're not going to see for quite a while. And she warns, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing. So we already have the idea of reality is not as it seems always. And then the next scene right after that, after the floating heads in space, which is weird. Mm-hmm. Weird way to start a movie. Although that's how a few movies start with floating heads in space. That was confusing. That was a thing. But then the next scene, you have children playing hide and seek, and it's all innocent and fun. And then what do? They find a dead body. And then setting up this idea of innocence being destroyed through violence, which is going to continue on through the movie.
It's going to come up again.
It's kind of the movie.
Yeah.
And we also get some, I don't know if it's an airplane shot, a helicopter shot. I don't know how they were doing that in 1955.
I was wondering that.
It's unusual.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of that.
I was wondering how many helicopters we had in the 50s.
I don't know. And there's also like a really cool tracking shot when they track out from the body being found. And most of the camera movement, I feel like, is done in that first little bit. And there's not too much more.
Yeah.
But then we get introduced to our preacher character. And he is at a burlesque show. And he's watching, and he's both disgusted, but I think also a little aroused.
Yeah, he seemed a little turned on there.
And he's talking to God. And it becomes very clear that this guy is misogynist before mostly everything.
Yeah.
And very religious. I guess those two. And he winds them together. He's like, you know what I love? God. You know what I hate? Women.
How
can
things.
I combine these two? I'm going to say that God's telling me to kill all these women. I'm killing the women for God.
Classic misogyny.
Because they wear perfume and have curly hair. Those are some of the sins that he lists that they deserve to die for.
I may have laughed a little bit when he said, with the curly hair.
Yeah.
I was like, that's an interesting thing to hate. That's a very, physical thing to hate.
And I think it was a Hays Code thing, the ratings system of the time, that they weren't allowed to make him an actual preacher. Like, I think he might be in the book, so they couldn't let him wear the the collar type thing. He's just like a guy who likes God, but you couldn't make him be a preacher because that would be too much if you had a preacher killing people.
In the Wikipedia page, it says self-proclaimed preacher.
Yes.
I watched a whole video about the Hays Code this week, actually.
Oh, wow. I took a class on that.
Oh, wow.
Let's talk Hays Code.
I found it really interesting. I mean, I find it really interesting the ways that anybody gets around stringent rules like that.
Yes.
I think it's really interesting. I think it's I think that's a documentary in itself.
Yeah.
And probably a class that you took in university. But I found it really interesting how, as the times changed, the code didn't, and thus it was kind of abandoned. Things were kind of made okay because they were like, well, we can't stop them. That's kind of how it felt like in the end. Yeah,
well, the ways it was enforced really dropped off because it was coming out of these gangster movies where people were idolizing the gangster. So then, you know what? I'm going to save it. We'll get there eventually. I'll just talk about it when it becomes relevant to this movie.
Awesome.
Because I'll just keep going on.
I just wanted you to know that I did my homework a little bit.
That's pretty good. So we were talking about him not being an actual preacher.
Right.
Do you think he believes the things he's saying? He's doing this for God?
He's delusional enough that he's one of the serial killers who is like very much a religious zealot.
Like he's a true believer, not just
Yes.
putting it on for advantage.
No. I think he is enough in his own like psychosis that he is like, no, I'm doing this for God.
Yeah,
and God thinks
completely
that
agree.
all these women deserve to die because they are too slutty.
And he says that like, oh, I know you love killing, Lord. There's a lot of killing in your book. And you're like, well, yeah, actually.
There actually is a lot of... I did think
Yeah.
that was funny because it's true.
And having the villain of this be a devout religious man, that's pretty...
Avant-garde for
For the
then.
time?
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
that too. Because like religion is still like in the 50s a huge part of American life. And to see a movie where...
Yeah, now it has no influence on their...
No. But I mean, like, it was still very much the law of the land. I feel like most people were abiding by that. And I feel like bringing in a movie where your serial killer is a man of God, or like self-proclaimed or not,
He's religious. Absolutely.
It is a religiously fueled crime. And I think that's an amazing thing to bring into a time where everyone is like, no, but Jesus says, and being very judgmental about Christianity and that kind of thing. I think it's really interesting to see a murderer.
I think you wouldn't get that greenlit easily today.
I think not.
Because the religious fundamentalists are very much in power and often in charge of studios and such. So, or at least they want to capitulate to politicians who are. And
Yeah.
they don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. And where the money comes from.
But yeah, that part of him being actually religious, there's so many things in this movie that there are so many easier ways to do it. And this takes the interesting way each time. And that's one of those. So we have the dad, Ben Harper, of musical fame.
Musical
Not
fame.
that Ben Harper. He shows up to see his son and daughter, and he has a bunch of money with him, and he says, "You go hide this. Don't tell anyone."
Where you got it, yeah.
And right away, there's so much pressure being put on these kids. John is
And
the son.
Pearl.
John's the one I always forget because I always just called him Little Gosling because he looks a little bit.
He
like,
looks like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Like, I, for a second, was like, when was this movie made? Does this line up? Because that is just small Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling is actually 93 years old.
He looks amazing for his age. Wow. Good on you, Ryan.
But right away, he is kind of stripped of his childhood carefree life, and he's thrown into this adult world, and it's paranoia and it's suspicion and it's danger, and he has no choice in the matter. So then the police come and arrest his dad, and there's that really heartbreaking part where he's just going, don't, and that's all he can say. And that's
And he's
such
so
a
passive and like, because he knows he has no power over the situation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We set that up right away
I was
too.
very much like, even if I scream, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Like, so I put the effort in.
And the fact that they made the line "don't" and not like "don't take my father away," or
Yeah.
it's so much. It's just perfect for a kid.
It's a
'Cause
very
kids always go,
childlike line.
Don't.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Don't. Don't.
Yeah.
He just seems so defeated in that moment. And that was kind of heartbreaking and very appropriate for a child character, I felt like. Yeah.
Very good child actor. He was fantastic.
He was great. And I thought Pearl was pretty good too.
I think Pearl's fine.
Okay.
I think he like carries much of it. If it's not Robert Mitchum on screen, it's usually this kid.
Yeah.
And I think he was like a well-known, maybe not well-known, but a experienced actor even at a young age already.
Okay.
Pearl, I think, is fine because she's just being a kid.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to do as much as John does, but she's good for that. And then the preacher meets the father in prison, kind of hears something about the money because he's talking in his sleep, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And then the father is hanged.
Yeah.
And the hangman sings the song that's all creepy.
That was a creepy time. That was a creepy moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of creepy moments.
There
in this.
is, but that was like, okay. Like, a hanging is bad enough.
You don't have to sing while
You
you
don't
do
have
it.
to, like, do a creepy song with it. That's too much, man.
I don't know. If someone's hanging me, I want them to sing a creepy song.
Okay, I promise to sing a creepy song if you're
Well,
ever
you're
hung.
going to hang me?
No, I'm not going to. I was going to say if you're ever hung for a crime,
You'll sing the creepy song?
I will sing the creepy song.
I don't know how I feel. I kind of want the hangman to do it. 'Cause
I was
it's
going
like,
to say, I don't know if it has the same weight if
yeah,
I
because
sing
you
it.
shouldn't sing a threatening.
Because
You
I'm
could
your
sing a
widow.
mournful song.
I'm like, oh, he was so great.
Yeah, that's
now
the song.
he's gone.
The first line I want it to be, "Oh, he was so great."
Okay, great. I noted. I will put that in the documents for when you die.
And when, hopefully, if I am hanged, it would take more than like 3 days for you to move on. But our old friend, Icey Spoon, is like, hey, you know what? Your husband's been gone for, it's like been like a week now. What you need is a husband.
Hey, lady, why are you still single? Move on.
And then we get the train with the dramatic music. There's a lot of straight up dun dun dun.
There
types in this.
was. It was a very heavy-handed score, I felt like.
But I think that's like where the dun dun duns come from. Is kind of this era. I like the score very much, actually. There's a lot of other stuff beyond that straight up dramatic one. And then, is it on the house where we only see the shadow of the preacher at first?
Yes.
No, that comes again later.
No, so
At this part too.
Pearl and John?
Yep.
Okay.
Little Gosling.
Little Gosling are in bed. And
Oh,
they
yes.
see his hat and his head in the shadow, and baby Pearl is kind of scared, and Gosling is like, "Get out of here!" Or he just looks out the window and then he walks away.
So right away we're getting this like expressionism at like what it should be. It's showing you the metaphor like very visually. He's looming above them. His threat is kind of ever present and coming into their world. Even though he's on the outside, he's always infiltrating. And it seems like his arrival is imminent with those train shots, with the music, with this shadow. And I think this movie's use of expressionist techniques are most effective when they're trying to make it seem like a nightmare. And that part really does.
Yeah, that was creepy and really foreshadowed the rest of the movie.
And all of this is in real fast at the beginning of the movie.
The first
This
15
plot
minutes of the movie
moves.
It does.
Gets going.
They really packed it in.
Yeah. And we finally meet him. Oh no. Well, we already met him. They finally meet him. And he's hanging out with his pal Icey Spoon. And he's doing the love and hate story that when we did Do the Right Thing, I talked about it there. And I said, you know what? One day we'll watch Night of the Hunter and we'll cover it there. So here it is. 5 years later.
I thought about that actually while we were watching it. I was like, I feel like this has come up before, and Do the Right Thing. And I didn't realize that people got hand tattoos back then.
That's what I'm going to get to.
Are you? And then you're going to do like a screamy preacher thing with like your fingers all intertwined?
I was trying to think of what I wanted on mine, but only 4 letters. Taco on one. But what's another 4-letter one? Yum! Exclamation mark.
Yeah. That's your life. Taco yum.
So this love and hate story, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is the thing. It's iconic. But this time I was able to actually just watch this a little more closely. And it works kind of on a level that I didn't realize because he doesn't actually say much. It's not a great speech.
No.
He puts on a show. And just like his character isn't able to con all of these people with saying the right things, he doesn't have any substance behind it. He is the semblance of something charming. And he gives you the idea that he has some meaning behind it, but there isn't anything. And I think this movie is really like a scathing indictment on the hypocrisy of religion a lot of the time.
Yeah, and like he doesn't say much, but he does get loud, and I feel like that might make his point a little bit more.
Yeah, not saying much, but being loud. That's
which I feel like is the story for most politicians currently.
And Mitchum in this, he's charming in a way, and you can see he's clearly charming a bunch of the people, but also disturbing at the same time. Like he always seemed creepy in this to me.
Yeah, he was creepy, and he had a very creepy, not like he always seemed very like ghoulish, but like he had a very ghoulish way about him.
The mannerisms, yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about the performance.
Like, I was thinking about this week actually, and I was thinking about the fact that like we've watched like Nosferatu, where he's all like hunched over and he has the creepy fingers. He didn't have that kind of creepiness, but he had a very ghoulish way about him in that the way he talked and the way that he like kind of left sentences hanging and the like pauses that he took.
Absolutely. And you can see at the beginning, you're like, oh, this is a charming, well-spoken man. And then something just seems off with everything he does. And I think it is a lot in those physical mannerisms because he seems weird underneath. I don't know if I see it, but at the time he was regarded as being a very handsome man. So we'll just say he's a handsome man. That's what everyone says. But he often like contorts his body in weird ways.
Yeah.
Like when he chases the children up the stairs later on in the cellar, he does like a full Frankenstein.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of leaning into the part of like the fairy tale monster, because I think there's a lot in this movie that's purposefully juxtaposing fairy tale elements with harsh reality, because that is how the kids are seeing this world. And we're mostly seeing everything through their eyes. So it makes sense that he's like a monster. But then when he gets the door closed on his face, he yelps is the best word.
Yeah.
Then when he gets shot later on, he howls like a dog.
Yeah.
And it's almost funny.
There were some
strange
moments, some of the things that he did were kind of funny.
I feel like that adds vulnerability to his character, and that adds to this idea of sometimes he seems like a supernatural force. When Lil Gosling's like, that guy don't ever sleep. Because he's just always there. How's he following them? How's he always finding them?
Yeah. How's he been riding his horse for like a week straight?
Yeah. So in those ways, he just seems like this evil force that's unstoppable. But then you get him yelping and doing that kind of thing. You're like, this is just a man. And that makes it scarier in a way that like, this is a man. It is a fallible flesh and blood person, but a person is doing these things. And that's more disturbing than if we just have it's some boogeyman. Like, who knows what it is? We can't understand that. You can understand this. It's a guy who hates women, who's willing to kill children for money. And the reality of that is scarier than the fairy tale version that the kids are dealing with.
I agree.
So I think the movie a lot of the time is giving us these conflicting things because the kids are having to deal with the conflict, with that conflict of going from a fairy tale villain to like, here is a man who will kill you and already has killed our mom. Yeah.
No, and I think it's also very much like, you're counting on the viewer to be like, yeah, that's a frightening thing to meet in the world. Like you're like, yeah, no, I understand that this is not just a horror movie thing. This is like a real world thing that is scary.
So then our pal Icey Spoon is saying like, hey, you know how I said you should get married? And you said like, oh, I can't. It's only been 3 days. Now it's been 7 days. Look at this guy. Why don't you marry him?
And she's like, okay.
One of the craziest lines in this movie is when she's talking about sex and Icey Spoon is like, well, yeah, that's not for us women folk. I just lay there and think about my canning.
Oh my God.
Do you remember
that?
That's
I do.
A crazy line.
Well, you just used to lie back and wait for it to be
England.
Think about England. Just wait for it to be over.
She just thinks about her canning. She's just laying there thinking about peaches.
She's like, well, I've got like 10 jars of peaches and probably like 6 jars of tomatoes. That'll occupy you for a while.
Mr. Spoon, Big Spoon is just
not doing it right.
So then she says, sure, yeah, I will marry him. Let's go.
It's been 7 days. That's
and gets
fine.
Married right away. And then we got some more stuff that is weird and complex and can be read in so many different ways, because on the wedding night, she's kind of like getting ready for everything.
She's got a pretty little nightgown on.
You whore. You want to have sex with your husband?
Gross.
And she's like, wait, what? Am I terrible? I guess I'm terrible. And you just get to see how this guy
is manipulating her.
Clearly has all these messed up ideas on his own and his hatred for women, and he has some sort of sexuality issues, like if he's completely asexual or impotent, or if it is really that he believes these things so much that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever his
issue is,
insanity is, he is able to convince her that it's her fault.
That she, wants to like consummate their marriage.
Yeah. And that's another wild thing. This using this undercurrent of sexuality versus this Christian guilt that is associated with sexuality. And then in him just being like, yeah, I'll murder people constantly if they have curly hair or wear perfume, but you want to have sex with your husband, you whore?
Yeah.
Like, what a wild
turnaround.
Yeah, just way of thinking, and how many of the people in this movie are like, yep, true. And how he's able to convince other people. And that's, again, getting into the idea of how religion can be used to manipulate and control and keep people down, because that's what he's doing.
He also seemed very creepy and like larger than life when he was speaking to the children.
Mm-hmm. And they shoot it like that,
yes,
right?
Like he's
oftentimes
huge and like also not quite lifelike.
He stoops over them. And when he's upright and doing his things, he's a man of like good posture. But like you were saying, he becomes ghoulish and curved.
Yeah.
And they often put him in places like when he's in the cellar or that one room, there are these tiny claustrophobic places. So it really plays up his size over them.
Yeah.
And he almost has to curve to like not hit his head.
Yeah. And it's very much like anything he says to the kids seems creepier and scarier. Also because I think you're supposed to be like perceiving it through a child's eyes, right? Like,
yeah, and I think the movie does a good job at making it like that.
Absolutely.
And she is Willa, that is the mom, is quickly convinced, and she says like, help me to get clean.
Yeah,
that was like just hard.
That's such a high control religion thing too, is like, you're dirty and you need to like do the work to get clean again. And it's just like, no, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just married to the wrong man.
And the movie has a surprisingly progressive, like sex positive view.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later because that's not coming up yet. Because at this point, she's saying, help me get clean. And she's preaching about how I drove my husband to murder because I wear makeup.
Yeah.
And she is just like full on indoctrinated into his cult pretty quickly.
This makes women back then look real bad.
I might disagree. Her, sure.
I mean, her, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think there are other women in this movie that are doing great, but like she is like so bendable.
Yes.
And like malleable that it's like, wow, okay, so this is why murder happens.
So I think many movies of now and of the time would have just this character, and you're like, yep, those are the female roles we get.
Yeah.
But although having a like matronly, saintly woman isn't exactly the most out there stretch, because you have like kind of these few archetypes of, especially for older women, they just weren't giving anyone roles. They are not writing many roles for older women outside of this. And Rachel, is that her name?
Rachel.
Gish. She definitely falls into that, but there is, like everything in this movie, it's not that simple. There's more to it. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So we have that really scary scene where it is very Caligari looking, and he like slaps her in her bed, and she's like full brainwashed. And I thought you would probably be interested in this because you love cult stuff. And
I do.
Here you go. Here's a cult leader for you.
Oh yeah, no, I could see the Caligari-ness of this bedroom because the windows are triangles.
It's this weird A-frame.
It's like a very high ceiling, and he seems in a weird posture too.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Like everything seems too long and he seems very creepy and like hunched over. And you can see the indoctrination start from like their wedding night. And then once they're in this room, it's very much like he's just putting her back in her place that she's been put in, of like, you're a whore. Like, how dare you want to sleep with me on your wedding night? Yeah. And then also like, this is why your soul is in jeopardy. And he's very much preying on her religious like background, which I think was a big deal back then, was like everyone was like worried about going to heaven. And I think that this scene especially is very cult like, because he is like unfiltered, because it's only her and him. I think he's not putting on the show of like being a preacher. I think he's not like grandstanding anymore. He's just showing her his cruelty.
I think he knows how to control different people in different ways. Like with Icey Spoon, there it's put on the show and charm. And then here he's going to like control her by any means, like some physically if he needs to, and like beat her down into submission and the control. And he tries to do that with the kids too, but with less success.
Yeah. Which is like a textbook cult leader, right? Like,
and this movie gets into the psychology of a serial killer way more than most movies, and more than movies of this time that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like really, I always think of Psycho as the movie that's kind of doing that for the first time, but here we are, Night of the Hunter.
Creepy creeps.
Speaking of creepy, then one of the next scenes is one of my favorites, where it's the, what's his name? Uncle Pappy? Uncle something. Uncle Bullseye. I don't know what his name is. But the uncle, who's not really an uncle, I think, he's fishing and finds the car, and there's that underwater scene, and it has like a bit of a pan to it where you just see the plant life, the seaweed or whatever, floating, and then her hair, and then we get to see her underwater in her car with her throat slashed. And that is a beautiful and haunting scene.
Birdie Steptoe. Uncle Birdie.
Uncle Birdie. I knew it was something weird.
That was... I'd be interested to know a little bit more about how that shot comes to be.
Oh, well, they did it in a tank.
Okay.
Pretty much everything in this movie is done in studio. There's hardly anything real outside, because like those silent films like Caligari, they are artificial, yes, but controlled. In this case, I think is a better way to think of it, because everything is very intentional. So it was a big tank. It's a wax figure.
Okay.
And they did do the throat slit, and I think it was done well, because it's not crazy. You're not like, oh, and shocked by the wound. You're shocked, of course, by like the death of it, but it doesn't. I feel like if it was too much and there's like blood coming out or something, it would be a different kind of disturbing.
She looked
serene,
peaceful.
Yes.
Yeah, like down there, and like lifelike.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that the kids didn't see that.
Yeah.
Like, because she looked like you might be able to like bring her up to the surface and she'd be fine. Beautiful
and haunting at the same time.
And I felt like the movement in the water was very good. And like, I understand that, like, because you could tell from the upper shots of the kids in the boat that there's just like jets happening on the side of the river.
Yeah, so
like
they
you can see it.
Had a tank, and then they just put hoses in on one side to create the current of,
were
of
just
the
like
river. Yeah,
pushing.
And in that scene, it works flawlessly, I think.
Yes, no, in the mom in the car scene, it was beautiful. From the top, there's like a few holes.
There's times, yeah.
But I really thought that the water stuff in this movie was really well done.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
It reminded me of... There's a scene in Carnival of Souls like that, I think. I love Carnival of Souls. We should watch that sometime.
Yeah.
But going back to this one, So already there are so many things that seem very prescient for today of this religious guy and his opinions towards women and how he controls people. That hasn't gone anywhere. It's probably more on display now than it has been in a while. But also this idea that everyone believes this guy because he says he believes in God, and then they just blame foreigners for the things that he's doing because they're like, oh yeah, someone stole the horse. It must have been those gypsies.
Right.
And everyone's like, yep, that's it. You, stranger, you're cool. No problem.
Yeah.
And just like Uncle Bertie, when he doesn't want to tell people what he saw because he's just like, well, they're going to blame me for it.
Yeah.
He knows what the world thinks of him.
Yeah. He knows where he sits in the hierarchy of the town.
Just like the preacher goes like, well, I know what people think of me and I can get away with so much because of it. And yeah.
You know where you sit. And you know what's going to get pinned on you.
It's just more showing that the world these kids are being forced into has no justice to it.
Yeah. And that's like pretty sad.
It's terrifying.
That's pretty sad that that's the world. And then I think of the world that we live in and I get even sadder.
And you're like, yeah, that's pretty sad.
And I'm like, yeah.
There was one really good scene where to illustrate that when they are hiding from him. I think it's maybe right around now before they run away. And he is up there and he's going to come down. And Icey Spoon comes along. And of course, she believes him. And she says, like, get up here right now. And they do. Because they still are of a child's mind where an adult will get to the bottom of this. Yes. They will protect us. That's what they're here for. You can trust an adult
because they're there for you.
He's gonna get in trouble because now she's here, but no, there is no help for them. She is conned quicker than anybody, so then they run away. Pearl sings a scary song, and it just has this late Depression era feel when they are going and getting like a potato from some lady, right? That was all, just brutal. This is a harsh movie, but like a beautiful one too.
These kids are so lucky that they find Rachel Cooper because everyone else in this movie doesn't really seem to care about the kids.
No,
they're
not
like,
at all.
These are some other ladies' brats. What am I going to do with them? It's the Depression. Yeah, it's sad. And you kind of are so happy about Lily and Gish finding them.
Yes. So they're rolling on down the river and they keep seeing all these animals.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Every animal was in this movie. Every single animal was in this movie. And I was like, wow, the animal budget on this movie alone was like $1 million. There was so many cute animals in this movie. It's like bunnies, etc.
What did you think of the use of that? Did it make you feel any certain way?
Not like a whole bunch. It just made it seem like they were more out in the wild than they seemed.
And it was peaceful,
yeah,
right? So I think like my kind of through line for all of this is the contrasting ideas of going from a children's world, how a child sees things, to the harsh reality of the world around them. So we had the scenes before that are very expressionist, of film noir, whatever you want to call it, with the harsh shadows when they're coming out of the cellar and the upstairs scene. And now things look serene, but not in a normal way, because it is still artificial looking. It kind of seems like a children's storybook.
Right.
That's what it made me think.
Yeah.
That they are feeling some ease now, and we can see how like they see the world, and it's just animals that are hanging out by the river. Everything's good. Everything's calm. And then an owl kills the rabbit, and we just hear the rabbit for a long time. And you are, again, forced to deal with like the safety that they feel is fragile and can be lost
fake
at any moment. This idea of the storybook world and everything's nice here, it's not.
No.
It's a hard world for little things.
Yeah.
As she says later.
It felt very like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
In the floating down the river scenes, because it was very much like, oh, there's a bunny. Oh, there's an owl. Oh.
Well, yeah, they're running away from the monster and they see all the animals, and then they're going to go see their fairy godmother who's going to save them.
And it felt very like fairy tale in this moment.
There's that really cool shot of the horse riding on the ridge.
Yeah.
I loved that. And that was like forced perspective with a pony. And I don't know if it was a child or a little person, but there was a lot of like really ingenious things that they did to get the look of this movie.
Interesting.
And then I think that's the point where they meet Rachel, and she, like all of these things with the duality, she's the most caring person, but what's the first thing we see of her? She's whipping him with the stick.
Yeah.
She's like, get in there, get cleaned up. And I think I said it already, but she's kind of representative of that good part. She's the fairy godmother who is going to banish the monster, and she's fiercely protecting the kids that she already has. And then I'm not sure about this because I didn't actually do much research, but it really seems like they made her be religious on the good side of things to get out of that issues that they might have with the Hays Code.
Right.
Because they're saying like, look, religion is good. He's bad, but religion is good. So we have the battle between her genuine kindness rooted in faith against his manipulative religious fanaticism.
Use of faith. Yeah.
When we get to meet Ruby. Ruby goes out into the big city looking for attention.
Right. Yeah. She's just a young girl who likes those boys.
She does. And when she's messing things up to the point where like maybe costing people their lives, when we had someone else call someone a whore for wanting to or being open to having sex with her husband.
Married.
When Ruby does this and is like making eyes at the preacher or whatever and gives away the location, Rachel says, like, I don't blame you. You're just looking for love in the only way you know how. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make sure you grow up to be a strong woman. Like, how often does something like that happen in any movie?
Never.
Right? Normally.
Which is like, I was like, yay!
The Ruby character would be the one to die. Because like, oh yeah, she was being bad. She was
wanted
out there.
love. All she wanted was men.
And now look at her now. And it goes cautionary tale.
Super
but that's
dead.
Not what we do here. We actually have a
teachable moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where she's like, it's okay.
You made a mistake, but I see why you did it. And I'm going to help you throughout this.
Yeah. Orphan
what a woman.
Girl looking for love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. I really liked Rachel.
How can you not? She's stern but fair.
Stern but fair.
So then he arrives at their place and I assume calls them all whores because that's what he does. And he says, I'll be back in the dark.
Which, creepy.
Yes.
Why do you have to be so creepy?
That's what he does.
Well, it's because he's like a murderer.
And he's a manipulator, right? So he knows. I think he knows, like, they're going to be scared.
Yeah, and he's like a house of women and children.
And also, he's had so much success killing women. Why would he think she's any different?
It's true.
But she is.
Very sure of his skills.
Because I think there's a line at one point where he says he's killed 25.
Which is crazy.
I'm not sure if... I wrote that down, so I must have heard it.
And this is back in the time when it was a lot easier for serial killers because you could just like go to another town and nobody knew who you were.
True.
There was
also
zero paper trail. But yeah, it's extra creepy in this time.
And then we go do another singing bit. The score and sound of this movie, I think, is quite remarkable. And I don't always even think of that because the visuals are so good. But he's singing his song. And then she joins in and harmonizes with him, which is, I don't even know what the takeaway of that is. I kind of think it goes into the, again, like I was talking before, the two sides to the same thing. Yeah. And they're battling each other, but they both believe the same things and they have incredibly different takeaways, but it's showing the commonality of what they have still.
So as someone who did a little bit of Christianity in my younger days to see if it was for me,
And singing.
Which kind of where I started singing. There is a like comfort in singing these church songs. I don't know the one that they were singing, but like there is something about how they're written that is very much a like join in and like participate kind of feeling to them.
Yes, that's what they're designed for.
Yeah,
right?
and they're designed for harmonizing. They're designed for people to feel like they can sing at any level. And like it's a very much like join in, join us kind of thing. And also it was very much to me at least, a like good and evil moment of like, I understood in that moment why she was singing along, was because it was a song that she probably knew from her church time. And it was a non-threatening song for her to sing, but a very creepy song for him to sing because he's just a creep. And it felt very right to me as someone who has like dabbled in Christianity. Dabbled.
She's sitting there with her gun on her porch,
Yeah.
shoots him the one time, and he's yelping and howling. And she has that line that I love so much. It's a hard world for little things.
Yeah, which I loved.
And that's kind of what the movie's about. It is about the hard world for these little things.
Yeah.
And then being forced into this other world. And I also love that it's not like some firefighter or lumberjack or someone who comes to save them at the end. It's just single mother of, I don't know, 12, Lillian Gish, who's just out there doing her best.
She's just doing the Lord's work in the right way.
Yeah.
She is taking in orphans. She's teaching lessons, and she's like accepting people where they are, as opposed to this self-proclaimed preacher who is out there murdering women for being whores.
Yeah. And then when he is arrested, this blew my mind of where they went with it, because he starts going, don't, and reliving the trauma that of seeing his father.
Which, like, fair.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're a little kid and that was the last time you saw your dad,
it's all coming back to him.
It's all coming back to him. This is another father figure that is getting taken away by the law. And
I kind of took this as his return to childhood.
Yeah.
Now he has a safe place in her home with all of the other kids. And this entire time, he hasn't been safe, right? And he's had that money with him. So when he does the don't, it's kind of reversing back to the last time he said it. And he gives the money. He's like, I don't want it. And the money, the arrest of the father, those were the things that forced him into this world where he had no business being, should not have been there. And now he can finally revert to a kind of a childlike role, because we don't see him break down when his mom dies or anything like that. He's just being not unemotional, but she says something at the very end, actually, like, children soldier on, or whatever it is. But he's been forced to do that, and now he's allowed finally to be a child again.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the last time he was a child at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, there's something about that moment where he's been allowed to feel safe enough to revisit those awful, awful things that happened to him, watching his father get taken away and killed.
And there's a really interesting contrast in the way that John, who was always skeptical and suspicious of the preacher, who now can't condemn him. He's on the stand and he says, like, who was the guy who did all these things? And he can't do it. And then you contrast that with Icey Spoon, who right away was like, what a great man. Marry this guy. He's the best ever. And then switches right away to kill him, lynch him.
Lynch him up.
To show you, like, again, I think there's a bit of the hypocrisy of religion that the writer seems to be touching on, but just this dual nature of all of these things. And they call him a Bluebeard, and we talked about Bluebeard in one other movie. Now I can't remember which one, but I guess it doesn't matter. But Bluebeard is a story of a guy who killed many wives, and he had a secret room, and you don't go in the room because then he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
AI.
Yes.
Was that? No, it's not called AI. It's called Ex Machina. AI is the...
But I knew what you were talking about.
Yes.
It's the wealthy serial killing aristocrat with that creepy, creepy room.
And then it ends on Christmas Day, and they get their presents. And poor John just like gets an apple and wraps it in a doily, and is like, here you go.
And then he gets a pocket watch.
Yeah, that made me very sad, but also it's in a good way, I think.
I was sad in a good way, too, because you can tell that these kids, like, they're growing up in the Great Depression, so you're probably not getting the best Christmas gifts. Yeah. And Rachel is, like, giving them what she can.
Yeah.
Which, like, might be a brooch, might be a pocket watch, might be an apple in a doily, but it's like meaningful to these kids, and these kids are having a good life. Then you're like, they're going to be okay.
I think you can kind of see this movie. Of course, I talked about the fairy tale stuff a lot, but kind of like Rachel was telling a story to these children this whole time. Because at the very beginning, she is. And we have their faces up in the stars. But at that point, I was like, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, you don't really know.
And then at the end, she's also... Was she reading? But she does have a bit of a speech. And she's talking about children. She says, they abide and they endure. So it's kind of like this whole thing was her story almost.
Yeah. Whoa, man.
So, Night of the Hunter. Pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah.
What a movie. Just great. Loved it.
Honestly, what a great time. I had a great time watching this.
The time of your life? And you never felt this way
owe
before.
it all to you.
Yes, I swear.
Now Indy's holding me above his head.
Yeah, I don't think I have any big speech at the end. I was speeching the whole time, but...
Speeching the whole time.
I love this movie. I love how it plays on those contrasting things constantly. I love that it's German expressionism and Mother Goose and Southern Gothic. It's just all the things. And it makes me a bit sad that it wasn't successful, not just because more people don't see it, but because we were kind of robbed of more Charles Laughton movies. And I kind of want to find out more about this guy. He seems very interesting, and I just wish he...
I thought it was a good movie, so I would have liked to see more from him.
If this is your first movie...
First and only.
Wow. Like, where would you go from there? We just didn't have the same sense of auteur ownership in that time. So if somebody came along and said, like, no, I'm doing this. Everyone else is doing their thing. I'm going to do my thing. At that point, like, how many people might have followed in his footsteps? Maybe not, like, doing his type of thing, but going, like, I'm going to just do whatever. I'm not going to make a cowboy picture. I'm doing my stuff. And the way he ran his set, having a, like, diverse voices are always good. Sure, he is another white man, but he's gay. He's willing to listen to other people. He loves the input of different artists for their expertise. That's just something, it really could have changed things if we had more people like that had success, but it didn't. But at least it got a second life now. Years removed, people are seeing it, and they're not comparing it to the movies of the time and seeing how it stands out. They're just basing it on its own artistic merit, and there's a lot of it. I really love this movie. The end.
The end. I have a question.
Yeah.
Final question. So we watch a lot of movies. Is $7.4 million like a lot of money today in movies?
For the budget of a movie?
Yeah.
No. Not even. No, not.
That's like nothing.
That's very small for a movie for today, yes.
Okay. So in 1955, this movie had a budget of $600,000, which would be about $7.4 million today.
600,000.
Yeah.
That is... I knew it was low budget, but that is so much lower than I had expected.
So Caligari had a $12,000 budget.
Yeah.
In 1920.
That's a hard one to compare because that's an incredibly low budget movie. Also, even for 1920.
But yeah, so $600,000, I think they used it really well. I think also having a studio behind you that allows you to use like the things that it already has built might have also helped, like a river. Oh yeah, I don't know. Like I assume that because I feel like movies were made indoors more, so there was like already pre-existing kind of infrastructure for that, but who knows. So here are a few movies that also came out in 1955. Oklahoma came out, 7 million. Guys and Dolls, 5.5 million. Rebel Without a Cause, 1.5 million. Desperate Hours, 2.4 million. Okay, so this was like a low budget movie. An incredibly low budget movie. Like, nobody made any money on this. Yeah, and even at that low budget, it did not do well. Yeah, which is sad. I immediately have Oklahoma in my head now. Oklahoma where the grass green. Da, 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 da. I don't actually know more than just that. I knew grass and that was it. Well, we'll see you next week when we are awarding some previous movies some awards. Yes. That was the worst way to describe that. You know, every 50 episodes, we do a awards show for our previous 50 episodes. Okay. So we'll see you next week. Get your tuxedo out.
I'm already wearing it. I'm going to keep it on until then, just to be sure.
Great. Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oklahoma.
Have you ever been to Oklahoma?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't need a musical.